and welcome back to First Saturday Science. This month, we're talking about the science of space, which happens to be astronomy. I would first like to take a brief second to apologize for our delay. We had some technical difficulties on my end, but I'm super excited to be here back. So let's go ahead and start talking about astronomy. Have you seen stars before? Have you looked at the moon? Have you looked at our galaxy, the Milky Way, constellations? All these things are encompassed in the science of astronomy. Today, we're going to be making our own star, which is really cool, in a jar. And you can keep it for as long as it glows. I'm going to pass things over to Tavia, who is going to explain a little bit about the experiment, give some pre-instructions for the experiment, and then we'll take you right in.
Hi everybody, my name is Tavia and this is Dakota. And today, or this month for March, we're discussing the science of space, as Alicia had discussed. And we're making a star in a jar. Obviously, we're not making a real star, unfortunately. Real stars glow by converting hydrogen gas into helium. And that process is really energy rich, and it gets really hot and gives off a lot of energy. And that energy is what we see as stars glowing in the sky. We're not going to do that process exactly. We're going to mimic that process by using fluorescence. Koda, can you tell us anything about fluorescence?
Fluorescence can be natural or non-natural.
Exactly. There is something called bioluminescence or biofluorescence, which is naturally occurring. And that can happen in animals like fireflies or scorpions can also, or there's certain types of shrimps also that display natural fluorescence, biofluorescence. And it makes them kind of glow and it looks really pretty. And then there's also fluorescence in chemical compounds. The one we're going to talk about today is fluorescein, which is a chemical compound often found in, where is it often found?
Highlighters.
Highlighter markers. And so highlighter markers, I don't know if you are familiar with them. They look like this. They're really bright colors. They're usually like a yellow color, but you can also get them in all kinds of other colors, like pink or orange. But when you use a highlighter marker, it makes your writing glow when you want to highlight something. So it makes it stand out. And so we're going to play around a little bit with that, and we're going to use that ink and that fluorescence to make our own star in a jar. So we'll get started here in just a second. The instructions? Just a second. Oh, yeah. Okay, so for the materials that we're going to have a lid with a jar, a highlighter marker, our black light flashlight, which is a UV light, and a pair of latex-free gloves. And then the materials that aren't in your kit include a little bit of water, just any kind of tap water is fine, and a pair of pliers or scissors, and then some adult help, just because it might be a little bit tough to open the marker. And the first step we're going to do is pry off the back end of the highlighter marker with the pliers, and this is where you might need some adult help because it can be kind of tough. And then you're going to pull out the inner ink tube from the marker. And then you're going to put on your gloves, you're going to open your jar, and carefully pull the inner ink tube from the highlighter and place it inside of the jar. And then you're going to squeeze all of the ink from the ink tube into the jar and then fill the jar with water. Then you'll put the lid on tight and then you'll agitate it just a little bit just to mix the solution completely. And then we're going to turn off the lights. And then you're going to see it's going to be a little bit of a glow, but when you shine the UV flashlight on after you turn off the lights, it's going to glow like a star. It's going to be really pretty. And then that should wrap it up. So we'll get started.
Hey everybody, I'm back. You should be used to this part by now. I'm going to lift up the camera, turn it so you get to see a little bit of our lab, face the camera down so that you can see the experiment. All right, let's go. You're going to get to see a lot. All right.
Here is our experimental procedure. Step 1, pry off the back end of the highlighter marker. I'm going to use a pair of pliers, and this is the highlighter marker. There's a little bit of a end in here, end cap. Oh, sorry. Oops. It helps to kind of twist it a little bit. Oops. I'm just going to squish it so I can warp it a little bit. That might help. There we go. Okay, got it. Twisting it definitely helps. And then Koda's going to put on his latex-free gloves. Switch into the camera a little bit more. That works, it's fine. Here. Okay, and then he's going to open the jar. And then he's going to take out the ink tube from the inside of the highlighter. You can usually just plop it down. Oh, okay, I'll grab it with a pair of scissors. There you go. And now squeeze all of the ink from the inner tube into the container. Look how bright it is. Oops. Maybe flip it around too. There's a lot coming out the other end. Squeeze it into the no. There we go. It helps to kind of hold it at the top and then push all of the ink down. There you go. That looks good. Now we'll put the ink aside. and then and then you can take off the gloves. There you go. And put those aside, and then take your water, and then you'll just fill up the jar almost full. It doesn't have to be super full. That's perfect. And then we'll put the lid on it. And at this point, make sure it's nice and tight. And you can see the liquid is it is kind of bright already, right? Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take the UV light, the little UV light. We have a cute little pocket one. And we're going to turn off the lights, and then we're going to shine the UV light on it. And you'll see it glow. Look at that. Wow, look at that. That looks crazy. All right, and we'll turn the lights back on. And there you have it.
All right, you guys, I know you can hear this mysterious voice, which is I, yet again, Alicia. I'm going to flip the camera around so we can say goodbye. So it's going to flip up. It's a really nice hood there that I heard. I know you guys heard that beeping. That would have been the hood. Now I'm going to flip us around a different way. You can see one of our classrooms here at Metro State. I'm going to keep flipping you. Pretty soon you're going to see my face. Hello, I'm back again. I'm going to take us down one more time. All right, so
that experiment was an example of fluorescence. And when it glows, we're seeing the light rays from the UV. It's the chemicals in the solution are absorbing all of the energy from that light, and it's going to a really excited state, a state where it has a lot of energy. And I'm sure you know what that feels like when you around or play a game. But molecules be very relaxed. They like to be very calm. In a relaxed state is what we call it. And so when that energy leaves the molecules and it goes from that excited state with all of that light energy, and it goes to a calm state, it's relaxed state. We call it a ground state. Then we see photons being emitted from the solution. And photons we see them as glowing. We see them as light. That's how we experience photons. And photons are just packets of light particles. And that there you have it. And that this will work for a long time. This is something that you can keep doing over and over and over with the same UV light and the same solution. So I hope you enjoyed it.
All right, everyone. I'm just going to pop in and say goodbye. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for working with us throughout our technical difficulties. I know we started late, but we got here. Also, I want to remind you that next month, we're going to be talking about atmospheric science. And fingers crossed, we'll have a scientist come in and talk to us a little bit about what they do in air quality monitoring. So I'm excited. I hope you are too. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.